Playoffs closely approaching. I'm going to be going over some of the playoff scenarios. We're going to be starting with the AFC. It's kind of starting to wrap up, but the AFC is actually very interesting because there's actually a lot of chaos down there at the bottom. It's looking as if Baltimore is going to clinch that number one overall seed. That's something that I think we know. Um, Obviously, Miami's got a fighting chance, but it just looks to me at this point like it is going to be Baltimore. They are the only team in the AFC that's clinched a playoff berth, hence that X right next to their position right there. But, they got a decently tough schedule. They got to play San Francisco, Miami. They got Dallas next week. Dallas, especially, it's a bounce back week for Dallas. I expect Dallas to win that game, but it's going to be a tough road. Miami will be in the postseason, though. I see them clinching here very soon. Then we go down to it. We go down to the big ones here, where you have pretty much Jacksonville is mixed in that too, because Houston has the exact same record as them. We got Jacksonville, Cleveland, Cincinnati, the Colts, Houston, Buffalo, Pittsburgh, and Denver, who all actually still have a fighting chance. And there's some big games coming up like that. You have the Bengals going up against the Steelers. The Steelers win that game. They're right back in the mix. Buffalo should get a win against a reeling Chargers team that's not going to have Herbert for probably the rest of the year at this point. So that's going to be a very tough situation for them. I would doubt that they would be able to lose that game. That would be pretty ridiculous. Then you have this crazy huge game. You have Browns versus the Texans. Huge game for implications. Browns win, they're pretty much in. Browns win, they're in. But Houston, if they lose, are they going to be able to bounce back? That is something to keep your eye on there. Jacksonville has the game against Tampa Bay, which Tampa Bay has been a little bit better recently. So I don't know. That's going to be a closer game than I think we all think. But if you're looking at these scenarios here, Denver's not dead either yet because they got New England, and that's a game that they are probably going to win as well. So it's definitely a heavy race towards the end of this thing, as you just have a lot of teams that have the ability to win in these games, and it's going to be very interesting down the stretch here. I think the team that's probably in the best shape right now, it honestly might be the Colts, but we will see. And yeah, you also forget Colts could actually take that AFC South division too. 3 teams in the AFC South tied at 8-6. Very, very interesting. Then if we go down to the NFC playoff picture, and I think if you look at it, San Francisco already has clinched their division, I believe, at this point. Playoff berth, obviously. The Dallas Cowboys are in the postseason as well, so is Philadelphia. Now, this is very interesting because towards the bottom there, you have several teams that are tied at this spot. You have Minnesota, the Rams, Seattle 7-7 now after their big win against the Eagles. You have New Orleans at 7-7. Atlanta 6-8, Green Bay 6-8. I don't think any of those teams are dead at this point. If you look at their schedules coming up, obviously Tampa, big game against Jacksonville, as we hinted to earlier. Even for the Jacksonville Jaguars, that's a big game because Atlanta, who knows if they're able to beat the Colts, which I don't think they're going to be able to, but if they are, they could sneak up into that spot. So a lot can happen. The playoff scenario is really starting to heat up. Especially the NFC might even be a bit closer. The AFC is a wild race, but this looks pretty intense with all those teams with that 7-7 record. And Seattle's got Tennessee. That's a very winnable game for them. The Rams have New Orleans. That's going to be a very big game for implications. And then Minnesota, they got to find a way to beat Detroit if they want to get in. They just kind of trounced the game against the Bengals that they should have won. So the playoff pictures are definitely heating up. I think there's only like 3 weeks left in the season. We'll see what happens.